In this episode, we look at automation use cases and how automation helps security teams handle repeated work with more consistency and speed. Security work often includes tasks that happen again and again, such as creating accounts, checking configurations, assigning resources, opening tickets, collecting evidence, and responding to common alerts. When each of those tasks depends entirely on manual effort, people can become overloaded, delays can grow, and small mistakes can appear simply because the work is repetitive. Automation does not remove the need for human judgment, and it does not magically solve weak processes. What it can do is make clear, repeatable work happen faster and more reliably. When you understand where automation fits, you can see why modern security programs use it to reduce response time, enforce standards, and give people more room to focus on decisions that actually need human attention. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is part of our companion study series. The first book is a detailed study guide that explains the exam and helps you prepare for it with confidence. The second is a Kindle-only ebook with 1,000 flashcards you can use on your mobile device or Kindle for quick review. You can find both at Cyber.Me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. Provisioning is one of the clearest places where automation can help. Provisioning means creating accounts, assigning access, setting up resources, and preparing a user, system, or service so it can perform its approved function. Without automation, provisioning can involve many separate manual steps across identity systems, email platforms, applications, cloud services, and ticketing tools. Each handoff creates a chance for delay or error. A new employee might receive access late, receive too much access, or miss an important application entirely. Automated provisioning can use an approved request, role, or job assignment to trigger the correct setup steps. That does not mean every request should be approved automatically. It means that once the decision is approved, the actual setup can happen in a consistent, documented, and repeatable way. Provisioning automation also supports security by reducing unnecessary variation. When two people have the same role, they should usually receive similar baseline access. If each account is built manually, one person may get a permission the other does not, or someone may accidentally receive access copied from the wrong account. Automation can apply standard role templates, required security settings, default group memberships, and required authentication controls. It can also record what was created and why. That record matters later during access reviews, audits, and investigations. If someone asks why a person had access to a system, the organization can point back to the request, approval, and provisioning workflow. Automation gives the organization a cleaner connection between business need, security policy, and technical action. Deprovisioning is closely connected to provisioning, and automation can reduce risk there as well. When someone leaves the organization, changes roles, finishes a contract, or no longer needs a service account, access should be removed quickly. Manual deprovisioning can fail if a notification is missed, a checklist is incomplete, or one system is forgotten. Automated deprovisioning can disable accounts, remove group memberships, revoke sessions, recover licenses, close remote access, and create records of what was done. This is important because stale accounts are a common security weakness. An account that should have been removed can become a quiet entry point for misuse or compromise. Automation helps make access removal less dependent on memory and more tied to the event that changed the business need. Resource management is another common automation use case, especially in cloud and virtual environments. Resources can include servers, storage, databases, containers, network components, and application environments. In older environments, creating new infrastructure could take a long time and involve many separate teams. In modern environments, resources can be created quickly, sometimes too quickly. Automation can help create approved resources with the right settings from the beginning. It can apply naming standards, tagging, network placement, security groups, logging settings, encryption options, and ownership information. This matters because security is easier when resources are built correctly at the start. A resource that appears without an owner, without logging, or with public exposure creates work and risk that could have been avoided. Automation can also help clean up resources that are no longer needed. Temporary cloud systems, test environments, old storage locations, and abandoned workloads can remain active after their purpose ends. Those resources may continue to cost money, hold data, or expose services. Automated resource management can identify unused resources, notify owners, create review tickets, or remove resources after an approved process. This does not mean the organization should delete things carelessly. It means the organization should have a reliable way to find what is drifting away from active use. Security and cost are connected here. Unused resources can waste money and expand the attack surface at the same time. Automation helps teams keep the environment closer to what the organization actually needs. Desired state configuration is a major automation concept. Desired state means the approved condition a system should be in. That may include required security settings, installed software, enabled logging, encryption status, account policies, firewall rules, or service configurations. The organization defines what the system should look like, and automation helps compare actual conditions against that expectation. If a setting changes unexpectedly, the tool can report the difference or sometimes correct it. This is useful because systems drift over time. A troubleshooting change may never be reversed. A new package may be installed. A security control may be disabled during maintenance and forgotten. Desired state configuration helps the organization move away from hoping systems remain secure and toward continuously checking whether they still match the approved standard. Desired state automation is not only about fixing settings. It is also about consistency. If every server in a group should have the same baseline security controls, automation can help enforce that baseline across all of them. If a new system is created, it can be built according to the same approved pattern as the existing systems. If a required log setting is missing, the automation can flag the issue before it becomes a larger visibility gap. This helps security teams because they do not have to inspect every setting by hand on every system. It also helps operations teams because fewer unexpected differences mean fewer surprises during support and troubleshooting. Desired state is a way of turning policy into a technical expectation that can be measured again and again. Anomaly detection is another area where automation supports security operations. An anomaly is activity that differs from what is expected. That might be a user signing in from a strange location, a server sending much more data than usual, an account accessing a system it has never used before, or an application producing errors at an unusual rate. Automation can help watch for these changes across large amounts of data. People are good at reasoning through context, but they cannot manually read every log, session, connection, and activity record in a large environment. Automated detection can compare current activity against baselines, thresholds, and known patterns. When something stands out, it can alert the team, open a case, or gather supporting information for review. Anomaly detection requires care because unusual does not always mean malicious. A traveling employee may sign in from a new city. A month-end business process may create more database activity than normal. A software update may change application behavior. Automation can identify the difference, but people still need to decide what it means. This is why anomaly detection is strongest when it includes context, such as user role, device status, business calendar, asset importance, and known maintenance windows. The goal is not to chase every strange event as if it is a confirmed attack. The goal is to bring attention to activity that deserves review. Automation reduces the time needed to find the signal, while human judgment helps decide whether the signal represents real risk. Ticketing is one of the practical ways automation turns security findings into trackable work. A ticket can record what happened, who owns the issue, how urgent it is, what evidence is available, what actions are needed, and when the work is completed. Without ticketing, security findings can become scattered across emails, chat messages, spreadsheets, and memory. Automated ticketing can create a case when a scanner finds a serious vulnerability, an alert reaches a defined severity, a user reports phishing, or a configuration drift is detected. The ticket can include the affected asset, event time, recommended action, severity, and links to supporting evidence. This helps the team avoid starting from a blank page every time something needs attention. Ticketing automation also supports accountability and reporting. If a vulnerability is assigned to a system owner, the ticket shows who is responsible and how long the issue has been open. If an alert becomes an investigation, the ticket can collect notes, evidence, decisions, and approvals. If the same type of issue keeps appearing, ticket reports can show the pattern. This helps the organization move from reacting to single events toward understanding recurring problems. Automation can also route tickets to the right team based on asset owner, system type, location, or severity. That saves time because people do not have to manually decide where every issue belongs. Faster routing means faster review, and faster review can mean less time for risk to remain unresolved. Repeatable security workflows are where several automation use cases come together. A phishing report, for example, may trigger a workflow that collects the message, checks whether other users received it, searches for related indicators, opens a ticket, notifies the security team, and records the outcome. A vulnerability finding may trigger a workflow that checks asset criticality, assigns the issue to an owner, sets a due date, and reminds the owner before the deadline. An identity event may trigger a workflow that disables a suspicious session, requires password reset, and requests review from a manager. The value is not only speed. The value is that the same type of event is handled the same way each time, with fewer missteps and better records. Automation reduces manual effort, but it should be used where the process is well understood. If the organization does not know what decisions should be made, automation may only make confusion happen faster. A good candidate for automation has a clear trigger, clear inputs, predictable actions, defined ownership, and known limits. For example, opening a ticket from a high-severity scanner finding is usually safer to automate than automatically deleting a production resource. Gathering logs is usually safer to automate than disabling many accounts at once without review. Some actions can be fully automated. Others should pause for approval before changing access, isolating a system, or affecting business operations. Good automation respects the difference between routine action and high-impact decision. The main takeaway is that automation helps security teams handle repeated work faster, more consistently, and with better records. Provisioning automation creates approved accounts and access without relying on scattered manual steps. Deprovisioning automation helps remove access before stale accounts become risk. Resource management automation helps build and maintain systems with safer defaults. Desired state configuration checks whether systems still match approved security expectations. Anomaly detection helps notice activity that stands out from normal behavior. Ticketing automation turns findings and alerts into assigned, trackable work. Repeatable workflows connect these pieces so the organization can respond with less delay and fewer missteps. Automation is not a replacement for judgment. It is a way to give people more reliable support, clearer information, and more time to focus on the decisions that matter most.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit DailyCyber.News.